In this walkthrough, I'm going to show you how to work with Java and the Java language to create an Android application. We're going to create a custom class, we're going to create a custom collection class for our data source, and I'm going to show you how to add and display information from that class. So we'll start by creating a new project, and I'll call this one Java. Leave all the settings as they are. And here we have our new project. So the first thing we're going to do is build the interface, and we're going to be storing books in a book class. So I'm going to add a couple of edit texts. Like so, and a button so we can add the item to our array list. And now we're going to save the changes, and we're going to go into our controller. We'll import the widgets. Like so. And then we'll link them to the view. And I will add the OnClickListener to the button. And we want the OnClickListener to be set to this particular class. Resolve the issues. Let main activity implement OnClickListener. And then add the unimplemented methods at the bottom, and we'll get rid of this menu while we're there. And we're going to add a little log message in here so we can see what's when the button's being clicked. My tag is going to be OPI. My message clicked. And as you can see, there's a lot of rubbish coming through the logcat, so I'm going to set a special filter up for this. Create a new filter. I'm going to call it OPI by log tag OPI. So now I haven't got any of the rubbish coming through the logcat. So I'll save that after I've imported the log class, and I'll test the application. Android application, click on OK. If I click here, I can see when I click on Add Book, go back to my logs, you can see it says button clicked. So the log's working and the button's working. So now I'm going to create a custom class to store a book. So I right click on the on the library here, and I go to New, and I choose Class. And I'm going to a class called Book, like so, and finish. So now I'm going to create my private variables. It's going to be and I now need to create my constructor. I'm going to call the superclass constructor, not strictly necessary, but I will. And I'm going to assign my parameters into my private instance variables. In fact, they need to be lowercase. And that's done. So now what I'm going to do is test it out. I'm creating a new instance of the book class and I'm going to send it to the log to see what happens. Same tag, so I can filter it out and send book through. And call the toString method. So I'll save the changes. I'll click on Add Book, and you can see in the filter I've got the address of the object. So to display something meaningful, I need to create a custom toString. I need to override the toString method. So back into Book, and let's create that right now. I'm going to return the title, then the colon, and then the author. So let's test that again. Click on Add Book. When I go in here, you can see it says The Hobbit, J.R.R. Tolkien. So that's now working. So we've now got the book class working as we expect it to. What we need to do now is make sure instead of just having fixed values, we are going to use the values from the edit text. So here we are. So now we should be able to add a book by typing information into the edit text. So if I type in a title, and click on Add Book, if I come back into here, open Logcat, you can see I've got The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. So my final job is to create my library class. So I go into here, I right click, I add a new class, and this one is called Library. And for this one I'm going to create a singleton pattern. So here's my library. I'm going to create a pointer to a library object. I'm going to create the array list. Remember to import the array list class. And I'm now going to create my protected constructor. so it can't be instantiated directly. I now create my getInstance method. It's static because I'm calling it from the class. And it returns a library object. First, check if it's been instantiated already. And if it hasn't, I'm going to create a new instance. And set up the book list array list. And whatever happens, I'm going to return a pointer to the new library object. And the final method I'm going to create is going to be a method to add books to the end of the array list. So I pass it the book, library dot book list dot add book. Two-string method so I can print out the contents of the array list. Always return string. Return book list two-string, because the array list has a two-string method which prints out the contents of the array list. So if we do a final test, add book. Okay, and there's the Hobbit JR token. One thing I do need to do though, of course, is I need to print out the contents of the array list, which is inside my library class. So instead of login the book item, equals, and I call the class method getInstance. I've now got an instance of my library class. So now I should be able to do add book and pass it the book object. And then finally I'll log the library class instance. Like so. Final test. Add book. And now if I clear the OP messages, you can see I've got an array list with a square brackets, the Hobbit JR token. I'll add the second book. Let's see if that works. Add book, go back in, and you can see I've got the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, my JR token.